LLC. Have members had an opportunity to go through that?
Yes.
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 Is there a motion or anything anyone wishes?
Without any discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we'll have the discussion after we get it on the table.
Okay.
I move that capital transport has pre-qualification status for pending application.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve Capital Transport LLC. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Chairman Johnson,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
David LaMontagne.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses. Motion passes.
Thank you. Number 2, Great Lakes Cultivations. Any comments, thoughts, motions?
I move that
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Great Lakes Cultivation has pre-qualification status for pending application.
Is there support?
Support.
Who seconded that?
Nicole.
Nicole.
Which is faster than I am.
Okay, it's moved and supported. Any discussion on Great Lakes Cultivations? Hearing none, should we go ahead and call the roll?
Chairman Johnson,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
David LaMontagne.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses. Motion passes.
Thank you. Number 3, I believe you pronounce it Thrive Enterprises LLC. Comments, thoughts, motions?
I move that Thrive Enterprises has pre-qualification status for a pending application.
Support, is there?
Mr. Chairman, if I could get on the score sheet here, I support the motion.
Okay. Supported by David. Any more discussion or any discussion?
I have one point of clarification that from the department, I think, is where this is going to be directed. There was a fail to disclose on an interested party, not on the licensee, but on an interested party. Where do we stand on using that in our considerations?
Well, to deny on that basis requires an applicant to knowingly submit information that contains false information. I believe the supplemental applicants presented a response by email that is in your materials, indicating they just forgot to report it and gave some information there for the board's consideration. So if the board found that that was knowingly, intentionally, falsely presented, then it would be grounds for ineligibility. However, if they don't find that it was knowingly intended, I'm sorry, that's all the way over there. Sorry. If the board finds that it was knowingly submitting false information, then a person could be ineligible. However, the board can look at the intent and the information that was provided and determine whether they believe that it is knowingly submitted, whether that person knowingly submitted false information. And there's an email response in there in your materials in her specific folder.
Right, I understand that, but I guess the crux of my point is it's not even the licensee, it's an interested party who made the omission.
Correct.
Does that affect the licensee the same way?
Well, the statute,
Good point.
just a moment, if you let me get to the statute. And that may, if the Attorney General wants to chime in on that portion too, that's certainly.
Sure. The relevant provision states that an applicant is ineligible if the applicant knowingly submitted an application for a license that contains false information. The applicant knowingly submitted false information.
So in looking at it in that light, the interested party is not the applicant, so their omission shouldn't affect the application.
Under that subsection, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Questions? Go ahead and call the roll.
Chairman Johnson,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
No.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
pass,
Yes. Excuse me.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 3 yeses, 1 no, 1 pass. Oh, that was a yes from Nicole?
Yeah, actually, the pass was a yes.
Yeah, it was 4.
Oh.
That's, I
Chairman
wondered.
Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, number 8, department reports. Application process update, I believe that's the director. Thanks, Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a brief update for you today. I did not run new numbers since we'd only had 2 weeks since the last meeting. Those wouldn't have substantively changed much, but I did want to bring to your attention that we are in the process of posting an advisory bulletin about the application process. Obviously, we've heard a lot of feedback and concern about the duration of the application process and wanted to provide some clarification on the steps therein. I believe the advisory bulletin is posted to the website now and goes in depth about the criminal financial background investigation process, establishing character and integrity, and how the steps of that process unfold. Some tips on how applicants can help expedite that process by timely replying and providing complete responses so that we can provide that information forward for your consideration. I've gotten some good feedback on that already, and we've introduced that concept to some media members as well, so that we can help applicants understand the process more fully and assist them in getting their applications processed quickly. That's really all I have for you in terms of what's occurred within the last couple of weeks. Happy to address any questions or concerns from the board.
Is there any questions? None? I like the shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Add a little color to you today. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Director. We're down to number 9, public comment. I have a card from Ben Wrigley. I'm ready.
Okay.
I think the board's ready.
3 things. First of all, I would ask that the board reprioritize its manner in which it is reviewing the applications and the investigation, the evaluation. There are many that are in the queue that are, in fact, have been submitted with full applications. They have the properties ready to go. The businesses are ready to be up and running. And I would request that they be moved to the front of the line as opposed to the Part 1 applications. We have several that have been submitted that have not yet been even put into investigation, and they'll be ready to go. So we're talking about licensing. Many of the Part 1s may never get licensed. Number 2, on people visiting facilities, we're going to have, in the lab situation, we're going to have technicians coming to deal with situations. We're going to have technicians coming for security. Currently, all those people have to be essentially pre-registered with the system. Well, we are not necessarily going to know who Quantum Analytics is going to be sending out on a particular day before they get there. So I would recommend that under the new rules, we try to come up with something that might say we have a log that's available, or when somebody arrives, then we notify Laura that the person is on site. Some kind of system for that. Could be the plumbers, could be the electricians, but there's going to be many people coming and going into these facilities. Third, understand, is with regards to record keeping. In connection with the Part 2s that we're doing and the future, there's some question because it is not yet clear in the rules, and we'd ask that they be clarified. That rule, what the rules say is that the materials have to be available for investigation when an investigator comes on site. We would ask that you allow all these records, including employment records, be kept electronically, not just in paper, so that you look at that in the future for not the business, but as well as the employee, the IT plan. It's coming up because we're submitting the IT plans and the HR plans in Part 2, and we have to designate how those are going to be retained. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all I have as far as cards. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good morning. Thanks again.
You're Devin?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just wanted to echo a few things that Mr. Wrigley had brought up. And then also point out the June 15th, and if we could do any kind of flexibility as to allowing these operators to provide for their patients going forward in the interim without that being held against them by the licensing board, that'd be tremendous. Also, a little discussion about this 3% tax. My understanding that it's not to be collected until they're fully licensed, but these temporary operators got municipal approval from local governments that would like to see this 3% being collected and remitted to the benefit that we told them originally. That'd be all. Thanks.
Thank you. Andrew, I'm going to have a question for you. I don't know if it's a simple one, but can we get done here? Thanks. Tim Schuler, is that right?
Thank you to the board. I appreciate giving me the time. I represent Lalantos Transport, and I came before you last meeting and said that at that rate, it would take 43 meetings to get through all of the pre-qualifications, and I appreciate the efficiency and speed that you did this morning's 3, but at that, now it's going to take you some 57 meetings to get through all the pre-applications. I
don't believe that, by the way, but that's okay.
I'm just using numbers. When I approached the director on where we stood in the process and that I've called the office, he actually explained to me that I was a impediment to the process of me just calling and asking, that I was taking him away from doing what he needs to be doing or his staff, which obviously this meeting would do the exact same thing if we're only going to approve 3. My question would be, I'd love to know where we're at in the process in terms of, as a secure transport, if there's 45 applications in the process, if I'm number 44, I might decide this might not be the route for me to wait for X number of months, if not years, to get pre-qualified, or if I'm 5, because obviously I have investments in trucks and drivers and buildings and things like that, that's real. And you have a June 15th deadline that's quickly approaching. So if there's a way for us to understand where we're at in the queue, it would be very helpful to, I think, every division of the licensing process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gene Zielinski, am I saying that right?
Hi, good morning. Jen Zielinski.
Jen?
Yes, yep, with Damascus Consulting. I just wanted to make a quick comment relative to the June 15th deadline and maybe some possible considerations for the board helping to protect patient access as well as hoping to avoid festering the illicit market. Obviously, we don't want patients after June 15th to be purchasing their medicinal products illegally, nor do we want operators to gravitate towards the illicit market in order to supply their patients. So some consideration possibly is if the board could put forth a resolution that would not penalize the operators who did their due diligence by submitting their application by February 15th. To allow them to continue to operate without penalty upon their hearing review with the licensing board. They've gone through the application process. We understand that it's lengthy at the state, and I think there's more to it than anybody had anticipated. However, these folks have done their due diligence. They went forth with their municipalities. They have the continued operations at a station. So to allow them to continue to operate beyond the June 15th deadline with that continued operation at a station in place up until the time of their review for an approval or a denial, that their status of remaining open after June 15th wouldn't put them at risk of losing the opportunity of an approval. Just some food for thought, hopefully some consideration.
Thank you. That is all the cards I believe we have. Does any board member have any public comment or thoughts? I just have a quick question for you, Andrew. It's okay. When we approve, like the 3 we just approved, do we give them something like a letter saying they've been approved?
Yes.
could we add to that to be sure and tell them to take that with them when they go to the local unit of government? Because I'm getting calls from local units of government that say, is this guy or this person or this firm is actually, one was represented that they actually had a license, which obviously they do not.
Yeah, and
So
then
they had asked me, the supervisor had said, hey, can you get me something so that they have it, so they know where they're at and what kind of ground they're on.
Certainly, and I know there's language on it that indicates that it's not a license.
I'm
trying
sure
to make
that.
clear to them. But yeah, we can add something to that effect. No problem.
Just to make sure that they get that, take that with them to wherever they're going, to whatever unit,
Sure.
so that the government unit knows that they're actually there telling them the truth.
Not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Andrew, one more question. Do you want to respond to the issue around the complaints of the delay in licensing and how individuals are saying we're never going to get through it, the numbers by June 15th? Do you just want to respond to it, to those comments at all?
Sure. So, we are diligently working through the applications, and one of the reasons we put out the advisory bulletin was to try and shed some light on the length of the process.
Right.
Obviously, we established the deadlines back when we drafted the emergency administrative rules. As I've said in some of the coverage through the media, we were a little bit surprised how many of the applicants waited until that deadline versus applying as soon as applications were available. But we continue to make diligent progress. I feel like we're building up steam. The next agenda obviously will have many more applicants. I feel confident that we'll still be able to issue enough licenses by June 15th to create safe patient access and ensure that the industry is able to start running. And we can present those to the board in a manner that gives you the depth of information that you need to make an appropriate decision on the applications. The length to which we have to go to compile all that information and put it in a format so that's easily digestible by the board does take time, but to skip over those steps in order to expedite the process is just going to leave you in a position where you're asking more questions than having answers. So we want to make sure we're doing our due diligence and ensuring you have the information you need to make an informed decision.
And I think from a board perspective, we can assure the public that what we're being provided is very thorough information. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Other questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple comments regarding the applications. There's not a person in the process that's not frustrated with the pace that we're at. Chris Jordan has a lot of people working on this stuff, and they're doing the best they can, and they're doing a really good job with what they have. So Chris Jordan's people in the applications section are doing a good job. There was an article in the paper 2 days ago, I believe, that showed how voluminous some of these applications can be. There's a lot of information that has to be gone through. And for each of us to have to go through it, we're going through a fraction of what the department has collected. And it's still a lot of information for us to get through. With that said, there have been a couple applications that have come up here, and we've asked them to be sent back to have another look. The state police is a part of this, and they're taking their look. But it's a little bit different than you might think what a state police investigation is in this, because this is not a criminal investigation. This is a licensing investigation. Many of the tools that the state police has is not available to them, because even though they possess the records themselves, they can't access them unless it's a criminal matter. So they have to do a little circuitous. They have to go around the end to get to where they need to be to find the same information. And one of the frustrations from me, obviously with my law enforcement background, is the state police has not been provided, not to say that it was on purpose, the information they needed to get to where they needed to go in their background investigation. Some of the information they didn't have. And if they don't have it, we can't ask them to look into it. And so in many of the applications, there was information that was discovered that needed to be looked into. Don't know how that's going to come out. That's what the state police does. They're very good at what they do. But they are limited in that this is not a criminal background. This is a licensing background. So they don't have all the tools they would normally have against them. Regarding June 15th, This was an artificial date that was set up, and the problems, as soon as the date was set, was put in motion. This was going to be a problem as soon as we said June 15th, as soon as the department said June 15th. That was going to be a problem. Every licensed, or every applicant who is not operating right now is at a distinct disadvantage to everybody who is operating right now. They did it correctly under the law because it was not legal. And now they are at a distinct disadvantage when compared to everyone else. And I'm looking at them. And we do need to remember this is medical marijuana. This is not recreational. And we need to do this for the patients, not for the income that these dispensaries, because they're making a lot of money. And that's the real motivation here is money for many. And that's what we have to keep in mind. It's for the patients. It's not about the money. Thank you.
Anyone else? I want to tell you from my perspective, things are moving much smoother, easier. Everyone's kind of got their grounds of where they know where they are and where they have to go and what they need to get to us. And it wasn't easy to get started out. I will admit that. But today we're, even though we only had 3 today, we're starting to move in a direction we'll be able to do a lot more. Because I will not be here for 57 meetings. But thanks for the comments. We appreciate those. That's very helpful. We're not really in a position to give you those answers today, but it's good to know that those questions are out there because there's multiple staff people here that hear that and will take issue to get some of those circumstances helped out some as much as possible. If nothing else, we stand adjourned till May 30th.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, that's right. You want
Make a motion to adjourn.
There's support?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. See you on the 31st.
Get your umbrella.
Yeah.